Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 14th of July. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have HiFi, Xero, James Hardie, Telex Pharmaceuticals and AGL. So if you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you're getting the free newsletter, but my share tips come out every Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report, so make sure you've subscribed to that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, please share them on social media or even leave us a review. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. Our main business is in portfolio management, so if you'd like to have a trading account with me and have me guide you with all the buys and sells, then please let me know. And the advice here is general only. So we've got a weekly chart here of HiFi. So the overall picture still looks pretty negative. We've looked at this one previously, big range. It's broken to the downside. So yeah, potentially we've got more weakness ahead. However, if we have a look in the short term, move to the daily chart, it does look like it's setting itself up for a bit of a move. So we've had a fall here. We've got this sort of gap down, doji, gap back up. So that's a reversal signal. And now it's basically trading in a tight range. So we've got a bit of resistance here, and it's giving us some higher lows. So this looks good, and obviously if you can break above this line, you'd get a bit of a rally. The only question is, how high is it going to go? Is it going to hit this old support line and then reject, or can it get above? So look, the overall picture still looks bearish, but short term it looks like it wants to make a bit of a move. Okay, Xero. So if we zoom out here on the daily chart, look, it's still in a downtrend. So we've got the lower highs, the lower lows. So at the moment, nothing to get too excited about. What it needs to do, I'll just zoom in. It needs to make a higher high. It needs to make higher highs, higher lows. It needs to get out of this downtrend. So this is the previous high. For this chart to start looking okay, it needs to go above that. And then when it pulls back, it needs to stay above this low. So we need a sequence of higher highs and lows. If you can get a bit of a base going at least, then it could be more positive. Otherwise, the risk is still to the downside because it's still in a downtrend. Okay, James Hardie. So sort of similarly, we've had this downtrend here. The most recent rally off the lows in mid-June looks pretty good. So we've got some good support coming in here. It's sort of bounced up and has been moving higher. It's just managed to get through this little peak here. But as we could see, it only lasted sort of intraday and is easing back again. So going above this little peak is a positive, but again, we need to see how it responds here. Maybe it needs to ideally come back, do a higher low, come back up and clear this little range here near $35. So still needs to do a bit more work. It needs to do also a higher high and a higher low. Telex, I think this one actually looks pretty good. So recently had a sort of a head and shoulders. So we've got this inverse head and shoulders forming here, and then this break was the clear buy signal. So it's broken the head and shoulders. It's trading pretty well. Momentum looks good. Still to the upside. In terms of targets, basically measure that gap there and stick it on there, and that gives you something a bit over, potentially a bit over $6. So a bit more upside, and then likely to get to this sort of between 6 and 650 before it hits resistance. Finally, AGL. So we'll just move out to the weekly chart. So just a horrible stock, massive downtrend. Seems to have broken that at the moment. Whether it gets into an uptrend or just builds a base remains to be seen. Looking at it a bit more shorter term, Looks like there's very good support at $8. So that's a clear level. But it is trading in a bit of a range now. So, I mean, ideally, it'd be nice if all of this congestion was happening up here, just under resistance, as opposed to sort of in the middle of the range. But essentially, you just need to wait for a break now. So, yeah, break under $8, big negative. If you can break above that, then you've got a little bit more upside. Okay, well, that's all for this week. If you have requests, send it through, and I'll try to include your stock next week for you.